that there is no military solution to this. I think everyone should be able to agree on that. That there is a governance crisis. I think we should all be able to agree on that. And I think those define this question. How we proceed from those, I think legitimate disagreements can exist on. And I think there are some that I would want to raise, at least some questions I would want to raise on some of what we've heard. But to do that, I think it's important to step back. I do hear Professor Yusuf's diagnostic, but I think it's important that we also address the narrative question. He talks about the sense of grievance of the Fulanis in Nigeria, and how they've been oppressed for a time, and how this where we are as a result of that. He speaks about the origins in 1999. Some of that can be contested. First of all, nobody has a monopoly of grievance in Nigeria. And in fact, several other Nigerians could possibly argue that Fulanis have dominated the country. And that this is an uncomfortable conversation, but I do think Nigerians must have the conversation about grievance and domination and hegemony. And if everyone who has a grievance resorts to shooting, there is just not going to be enough people to be destroyed in the country. The Yorubas will bring their own, and the Anagota will bring their own, and the Igbos will come with their own, and the Efik will come with their own. There are 379 to 383 ethnic groups in Nigeria, over 500 ethnic and national groups in Nigeria, everyone with their sense of grievance. The Fulanis have no monopoly of grievance, nor of capacity to shoot their way into grievance or out of it. I think that needs to be made very clear. The second point is that on this question of grievance and narratives, this did not start in 1999. And the idea that somehow it is the kidnappers from Edo State who taught the Fulani transhuman pastoralists how to use drugs is a story for the Marines. There were drugs in Kano and in Fulani settlements way before the Edo, before Lawrence Anini. That's one. Secondly, in 1986, the 1987 Kafanchan crisis was a crisis of banditry. And it was a crisis of banditry over artisanal mining in Kafanchan, in Bajuland. And people brought in guns from all over West Africa and beyond. There were guns from Sudan. Go and read the history. President Babangida in 1986 tried to chase them out of the country. He tried to repatriate all of those people. The guns they left were the guns that caused the Kafanchan crisis that were used in Kafanchan in 1987. Since then, guns have been around in crisis all over northern Nigeria. And by the time you end up with the Obasanjo administration, President Obasanjo actually asked General Luka Yusuf, who himself was from southern Kaduna, he died in 2009, to investigate gun running in. Nobody has seen that report, but there are only a few people who have seen the report of General Yusuf's investigation into gun running in Nigeria. You've got to read it to understand where this story starts, but not 1999 at all. Why? The reason I tell this story is we need to understand the narratives we're dealing with to understand our diagnostics. And so that anybody who seeks to monopolize narratives of victimization needs to also understand the history of victimization in Nigeria and the histories of gun running and some of these issues in the country. Now, two more things. You see, nobody, by the way, a third thing I think we can agree on is that dialogue is needed. But no of dialogue. How many times in the past did government dialogue with the Shiites? Over 1,000 Shiites were shot and their bodies buried in mass graves. Nobody has ever suggested dialogue with the Shiites. Sheikh Zakzaki's sons, 6 of them, massacred. between 2014 and 2015. Nobody has ever suggested dialogue with them. IPOB. How many people have suggested dialogue with IPOB? No. How many people did IPOB kill? Nobody has said go and dialogue with IPOB. No, IPOB was a terrorist before anybody even said anything. And crocodiles have been dancing in the southeast for God knows how long. That is legitimate. But when it comes to Fulanis, and I'm reflecting a perception here, which is why I think this conversation is necessary. It comes to Fulanis and the Northwest, we must do dialogue. Now, if we're going to do dialogue, can we dialogue with everybody in Nigeria and understand that all of our challenges have to be addressed that way, and not just suggest dialogue for some people and shoot others before we even understand what their issues are? So we cannot take dialogue off the table with some people and suggest dialogue is good for some other people, particularly when some of those people are levying arms against Nigeria. One more thing. Where does dialogue end and advocacy for terror begin? Because some of the stuff that Sheikh Gumi has been quoted as saying is not dialogue. Oh, how many people have these people killed? They don't kill anybody. It is... I think some of that verges on advocacy for terror. Respect. And I ask the question in good conscience, is he advocating dialogue or is he advocating terror? And I'd like to have an answer or a response to that. And to the extent that he's seeking dialogue, can he not gratuitously, with some of his utterances, seek to injure the feelings of families who have lost people in this crisis, while we are seeking genuine solutions to what is happening? And finally, on the issues suggested, communications, confidence building, ceasefire, and cessation of hostilities all make sense. But does that not require that we formally acknowledge that we are a Geneva Convention situation, and therefore declare all of these parties belligerents? So whoever these so-called bandits are should be declared as belligerents and recognized as such, so that we can then apply some of the ground rules of humanitarian law to addressing them, while we also recognize that our politicians by themselves, by the way, are the number one bandits. If we recognize that we have a governance and political leadership problem, then the biggest bandits in this business are our politicians. And the ultimate question is, how do we remove bandits from government houses? Thank you.